What's going on, guys? Vulkan here, and today we're talking about the latest update coming to New World, update 1.0.4. So this one is all about getting Outpost Rush back up and running, as well as server transfers. Now, there are a few other things packed in here. This should be a quick video, but we don't have reference to broken perks, whether or not the fishing hotspot text will come back, and if that's related to botting or not, and a few of the other things, right? They never come out and specifically say this will fix the Garden of Statues type of gameplay out in Wars. They did say we will have a little bit of a performance increase. So let's break this one down and let's talk about it. So they did put some notable fixes out here, including resolving the AoE magic exploit in Wars, an issue preventing players from being able to increase their faction token cap, and beginning to work on addressing issues causing invulnerability, which obviously is a huge problem right now. So the big thing they talk about is Outpost Rush and server transfers. Now, instead of just flipping the switch and turning it on for everyone, they do have a rollout plan that will be going on today. So from server transfers, US West servers will be enabled at 2 a.m. Pacific time, when the downtime for the patch is complete. This is already passed. Now, they're going to monitor those server transfers. If no new issues are encountered, then they're going to re-enable it for the remaining regions at 2 p.m. today, Pacific time. No server restarts required. So for those of you who really want server transfers, this is now a time to do it. I would say wait a couple days to make sure that there aren't any other issues that crop up. We don't want to get into a situation where you lose your account or you lose your character again. But for now, from their perspective, it looks like everything has been fixed. Now let's talk about the big one. That's Outpost Rush, okay? So I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Yesterday, I was working on a video, and the video that I was working on was very much tough love and hard conversations. And I'm still gonna put that video out because there's a lot of stuff in there that needs to be said. And if you know me, I'm a very positive person, right? I'm always glass half full. I'm always silver lining. I'm always, but the effort that went into this, right? That's always me. However, there are so many things in New World that need to be fixed, or that just simply aren't working or have been disabled multiple times. Outpost Rush is one of them. So I have to go back and redo that video because obviously a big chunk of that was talking about Outpost Rush. But they plan on rolling this out. They're starting with South America, obviously 2 a.m. Pacific time, and then they're going to monitor it. And as long as everything goes good in South America, here at 10 a.m. Pacific time on the US West servers, we'll be able to get into Outpost Rush. And then noon Pacific time, 2 p.m., 7 p.m., we'll continue the rollout. Now, their goal here is to adhere to the schedule above, right? But they do put that little asterisk in there that they may need to adjust the timing depending on any issues. I'm hoping we see lack thereof issues and everything just rolls out and it's fine, and we finally have a additional mode, something else that we can do at end game, because right now it is super dire and super empty. So this would be a great thing to add in, and I know I'm very excited for it, as well as pretty much everybody else. So Outpost Rush is coming. Check your server and figure out what time you can expect to be able to queue up for that. So next we have general changes. So here there are some kind of interesting ones. So one, they removed the Everfall starting beach. They want to allow players to funnel through the other 3 locations to increase the probability of new players and friends being able to play together. So this this tackles 2 problems. So one, obviously, is new players and friends being able to start next to each other rather than on opposite ends of the world. But 2, if you look at the population of New World, it's gone down. Right now, I think our 24-hour cap or 24-hour concurrent is like 350,000 players, right? It was almost 1 million, now it's 350K. This also is going to help with having the game feel a little bit more alive, because as new players come in, if they're the only person on the starting beach, they're going to have some questions and they're going to say, is this a dead game? Because not everybody goes out and checks Steam charts, but they log in and they say, oh, it's just me. So I'm going to go ahead and log off and refund this. So I think this is going to help with that as well, which is good because I think this game does need more players. Now, the second thing, the first house discount reduces the purchase price, but does not reduce the taxes. There was an issue with the UI that was saying, hey, this also reduces taxes. But it was only after purchasing the house and needing to pay taxes, they discovered they had to pay the full price. This is something I ran into. I originally was quoted 150 gold for my first house on weekly taxes, which I thought was okay. And when I had to pay it for the first time, it was 350 gold or something like that. And I was very surprised. So it looks like they're compensating any player who had purchased a house before the UI fix went out with 2,000 coins. So keep an eye out for that, because you will have some things coming your way if you did purchase that. Now here's what I'm talking about here. They did slightly improve the performance with wars. Now, there's a lot of clips around of people in wars where everyone is just standing still and you're just fighting for your life, man. You are in the trenches, just swinging at ghosts and hoping that you capture the point or you defend the point. And it is definitely not as advertised. So hopefully they continue to build on this, but for now, this keyword is slightly. They've been slightly improved the performance within wars. So don't go in expecting a completely new experience. Go in expecting, hey, maybe not all of the time I'll be swinging at ghosts. Maybe I'll be able to interact with other players. Same thing with the performance of the life staff. They made changes to the passive abilities, Mending Touch and Blissful Touch. Now, they didn't go into detail as to what exactly they changed, other than slightly improving the performance. So maybe that's increasing numbers, maybe that's increasing duration. I'm not entirely sure. Now, way back in update 1.0.3, right? They corrected a bug that caused companies to lose income from owning multiple territories or from failed war declarations. Now, with this update, they're reimbursing any lost coin revenue. So if you're someone who owned a territory or was in a company, you went out, you owned multiple territories, you actually ended up losing income. You lost money. And in this update, they're going to reimburse you. So the company treasury is reimbursed for all lost coin revenue. So this isn't something that's like, oh, hey, here's 2,000 gold. I hope that, helps. This is, here's everything that you supposedly lost. And the revenue return will not exceed the treasury cap, so it will stop. And if a company has been completely abandoned, they will not recover the lost coin. So please keep that in mind. If you were like, oh man, I was part of this company and you guys shut it down, it's dead and gone. You're not going to get anything back, which makes sense. I mean, they're not going to send ghost coins to everybody. So they did increase the faction token cap by 50%. This one I'm really excited for, because as I was leveling up, as I was going through that whole process, I felt like I was always at token cap. And the reason I was always at token cap was because I was always at faction cap. And I don't want to go and spend all of my tokens on faction items that are a tier below what I'm just about to unlock. So I was always chasing that, and it was always something that I was looking forward to, all the way up until tier 5. At tier 5, I had I think I was capped on tokens, and I didn't buy like almost any faction stuff because I never needed it. And by the time I actually looked at it to buy it, I was like, well, I'm going to be tier 4 here once I complete this quest. And then, go back, look at it. Oh, well, I'm going to be tier 5 here, here in a second. So might as well hang on to my tokens. So I really like this. So for tier 1, they've gone from 5,000 to 7,500. Tier 2 is 10,000 to 15,000, 15,000 to 22,500, 25 to 37,500, and then 50,000 to 75,000. I think this is a solid change. It allows you to stockpile more of these and also buy more items at the same time, right? Nothing worse than saying, oh, hey, I'm going to spend all of my tokens on this one piece of gear and I got to go out and grind them all again. So it wasn't a great experience. So this I really like. Okay, so we got some general bug fixes. Now, broken perks are not in here. Fishing hotspot stuff is not in here, but there are some pretty key problems that have been solved. So 1, faction caps were not increasing after players had completed the rank up quest for their faction, which sounds terrible. There was a rare issue causing the world time to skip ahead or behind. I hadn't heard about this, but that's terrible. If you have a server that skips ahead or even goes backwards, that's even worse, which obviously would cause a variety of issues across the world. They fixed an issue causing players to lose houses they owned in Cutlass Keys. Again, I'd heard a little bit about that, but hadn't seen any actual evidence, so that's interesting. Server crash issues. Fixed an issue with the ban and suspension notification, showing incorrect times, which is pretty minor. So they fixed an issue where players could use their world transfer token while they still had active trading post contracts. This is a big one here. I think it's kind of interesting. They fixed an issue where Mirtgard corrupted portals and Shattered Mountain were distributing higher tier gear than attended and respawning faster than attended. I don't know how I feel about this one. I understand the higher tier gear, right? And respawning faster. I understand where they're going with this. They want to slow down end game. They want players to not be able to just zerg all the way to 600 and gear out their character as quick as possible. But at the same time, you know, is slowing things down kind of what you want to do in a game that already doesn't have a ton of end game? I'm not entirely sure. So I feel like this one might cause some waves, but we'll see what happens. There was an unintended animation when interacting with the bubbling cauldron housing item, and an issue causing the ladle object to not appear. They got that taken care of. Big time stuff here. Then they fixed an issue with star metal and orichalcum ore veins, where large veins were rewarding small amounts of ore and small veins were rewarding large amounts. They were flipped, so they went ahead and got those taken care of. Let's see, anything else here? Armor textures flickering got fixed. Starstone, you get an arcane protection buff that actually was not protecting you. I ran into that a couple times. Fixed an issue where Ice Pylon would stay on infinite cooldown, so for those of you who use the gauntlet, they got that fixed. They fixed an issue where players could obtain rings that had 2 perks that were supposed to be exclusive, so they got that fixed. And this is another big one. I've seen this multiple times. They fixed an issue where players were unable to complete a variety of game actions after fast traveling. You'd fast travel, you wouldn't be able to roll, you wouldn't be able to dodge, you wouldn't be able to left click. There's a lot of stuff that went along with this, so I'm glad to see that fixed. So the last thing they talk about are speculative fixes. So these ones they call tentative fixes and mitigations. Our goal is to get these changes out and see if any issues persist, so we can continue to work on them and address them in a future update if necessary. Basically, they weren't able to completely fix it, or they weren't able to reproduce it to test the fix, but they feel like these things have been fixed. So they fixed a war exploit. We talked about this, right? Where players could use area of effect magic effects to capture rally points without taking damage. This is huge because this is the one where you would basically gas yourself up. You'd go in there and you would just cap these points and there was nothing you could do about it. So you had to sit there and just watch yourself lose, and that was terrible. And they said this should be improved by the war performance and life staff performance updates, but we'll continue to monitor to see if the issues persist. And that also plays into fixing the several known causes of players being invulnerable. This includes the playing in windowed mode and like dragging the window around really quickly to make yourself invulnerable. So that apparently has gotten fixed. We'll see what happens once people actually get out into wars and run around the world and do PvP. And then lastly, this was the thing that kind of put a big showstopper on Outpost Rush. Players could get stuck, and they would get stuck in purgatory after leaving Outpost Rush. They would also get stuck trying to go into it. Now they said this was rare and their team was not able to reproduce it, so they're going to continue to monitor it. But either way, this is something that supposedly was fixed. So guys, that is everything in this update. I think it's a good update. There are obviously some still outstanding things that we need to see fixed, but it is a good step in the right direction. So we'll see how things perform in wars with the life staffs, all that fun stuff. But for now, I want to hear from you guys. Was your biggest issue in this update? And if so, what was it? Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been Vulkan, and I'll talk to you next time.